Veterans Advisory Council. Each year on National POW-MIA Recognition Day, our council honors and remembers current and former prisoners of war and the more than 82,000 servicemen and women who remain missing in action today. Through our ceremony, we hope we can bring some comfort and hope to these military families who are still waiting to be reunited with their loved ones today. Today, we will be hearing from a family of a POW. As the chair of this council, I had the honor of selecting our keynote speaker of this event. One of my goals in that selection is finding a speaker that can provide a perspective. Last year we heard from Ms. Shoshana Johnson, our nation's first African-American woman POW. This year, while preparing for this event, I was struck by the raw, uncensored footage from the Russian-Ukrainian war that was so accessible on platforms such as TikTok and YouTube. It reminded me of a similar moment in 2004, right after I left the Marines, when I encountered a story of a family who saw their worst fears unfold online on TV. Today we live in an era where saying goodbye to a loved one before they deploy to serve our nation overseas means to do so with the knowledge that we may witness their last moments on the internet, on TV, on our phone. The family you hear from today experienced this harsh reality firsthand. Now, if I could call on Mr. Fred Robinson to come lead us in our invocation. Sergeant Fred Robinson, United States Marine Corps retired, is a member of our Veterans Council, and he also chairs the Orange County Veterans Council. He was also recently awarded the Orange County Veteran of the Year Award of 2023 for his exceptional service and dedication to veterans and his continued willingness to serve our community. Fred?
Please bow your head in prayer. Almighty God, the author of peace, whose boundless love reaches out beyond vision, and who holds all thy children in tender compassion and concern, we pray for those men and women listed as missing in action. Give especially to their families and loved ones the assurance that none of them are even missing in thy sight, but held forever in the safety of thy love. So we would pray that the day will come when peace will always prevail, so that no more loved ones need ever again be listed as missing in action. By the love that strengthens our lives and by the grace that gives us courage and strength, we raise this prayer. Amen.
Thank you, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, if you are able, please stand for the presentation of the colors by the UCF Air Force ROTC, and please remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please be seated. We'd like to thank the UCF Air Force ROTC and the VFW Post 2093 for the participation in today's ceremony. And with that, I have the honor to introduce our Mayor, Mayor Dyer.
Good morning, everyone. Michael, thank you for that warm welcome, and thank you for all the members of the Veterans Advisory Council for hosting this event year after year. We've had it every year since I have been mayor. I want to acknowledge Commissioner Stewart and Representative Anna Escamani are with us this morning. So I know that this is a solemn occasion, but I do have one funny thing to tell you. So I walked into my office this morning, and I walked through the reception area, and I thought, I wonder what happened to the furniture. I guess it must have been repossessed. Well, it turns out I know where the furniture is now. It's right here. We are very fortunate to live among heroes who are willing to sacrifice their freedom to protect us all. In times of war, which we hope those heroes never have to encounter, we make a sacred promise to them as a country. Part of that promise is that if they fall on the battlefield, we will not leave them behind. And as Michael acknowledged, there are currently more than 80,000 members of our armed forces who are still missing. And although time passes, we must do everything in our power to find them and to fulfill our promise of bringing them home with honor and dignity. Through this event today, the City of Orlando renews our promise to those heroes. Our community pledges never to forget. A number of former POWs call Orlando home over the years, and two of those are very well known. Second Lieutenant Edward Isbicki and Colonel Joe Kittinger, who both have passed away in the last couple of years but have attended many of these ceremonies in the past. Although they're no longer with us, this event honors them and so many others. So I have a City of Orlando proclamation that I would like to offer. Whereas throughout the years, courageous American service members have sacrificed their lives to protect our country and preserve the ideals that make our nation a beacon of hope, and whereas we honor those who have suffered unthinkable hardships as prisoners of war and recognize them for their bravery and determination, and whereas we also honor those who remain unaccounted for, especially remembering the sacrifices of their families who face each day without knowing the fate of their loved ones, and whereas the POW-MIA flag flies at City Hall as a reminder that we promise to honor and remember those who have served our country, and whereas September 20th has been recognized as a day to pay tribute to those heroes and their sacrifices, which remind us that freedom is not free. Now, therefore, I, Buddy Dyer, Mayor of the City of Orlando, and the entire Orlando City Council hereby do proclaim September 20th as POW-MIA Recognition Day in the City of Orlando. It's my hope that today's ceremony will bring some peace to the families of those still missing in action and deserve recognition for former prisoners of war. And I'd like to welcome Michael back to the podium.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. At this time, I'd like to introduce Steve Montiero, who will conduct today's interview. Better known as Trooper Steve of WKMG News 6 Mornings, he brings a wealth of knowledge to Central Florida, our community, when it comes to safety. His extensive traffic experience, law enforcement tactics, crisis negotiations, weapon knowledge, and military operations has changed how local news is conducted. I think that's everything. All right. Okay. A Central Florida native and a decorated combat veteran, and recently named Mothers Against Drunk Driving 2024 Law Enforcement Officer of the Year, Trooper Steve began representing WKMG News 6 in 2017 after following an 8-year assignment with the Florida Highway Patrol, where he currently holds his law enforcement credentials to this day. Ladies and gentlemen, Trooper Steve.
I gave him that this morning, and I was like, hey, make sure. All of it. It is amazing to be back here in the city of Orlando. I get to talk about the city quite often because no one recognizes their veterans as much as the city of Orlando does anywhere in Central Florida, whether it's resources, whether it's the advisory council, whether it's just people wanting to do the right thing. And this morning I had the opportunity to speak to a few folks because I serve on the Military Museum Board of History, and it's just amazing to see the olive branches constantly extended out throughout our community, but it always ends right here in Orlando. And I think that's something we should all be proud of. I also think our advisory council deserves a really amazing round of applause for everything that they do. It's an honor to be here with you today and help the Maupins tell their lived experience. Keith Matthew Maupin was the first American soldier declared missing in action in the Iraq War. Maupin's family and Maupin's final mission occurred on Good Friday, April 9th, 2004. He was part of a convoy, American supply trucks, that was ambushed near Baghdad International Airport. Now, Matt's mother, Caroline, saw news of that attack on television while she was at work. Now, on Easter Sunday, an Army major hand-delivered letter to Maupin's parents informing them that Matt was missing. A week after Maupin's disappeared, he surfaced on a video shown on Al Jazeera News. It showed him alive, surrounded by 5 gunmen, masked. "My name is Keith Matthew Maupin," he said into the camera. "I am a soldier from the 1st Division." On June 28th of 2004, a second video surfaced on Al Jazeera. Dark and grainy, it showed him alive, blindfolded, sitting before a hole in the ground. An off-camera voice speaking in Arabic identified him as Maupin. While the station did not broadcast the actual shooting, the next scene showed him being shot in the back of the head. According to the voiceover, he had been executed because the United States had not changed its Iraq policy. After further investigation, the Army said the video was inconclusive and that it may have shown bullets being fired into a dummy. So Maupin remained listed as captured for 4 years until March 30th of 2008. The Batavia, Ohio native was promoted 3 times while missing in action, leaving as Private First Class Maupin. He was finally brought home and laid to rest on Sunday, April 27th of 2008. Since his capture and death, his family has made sure Matt's legacy lives on through organizations, the Yellow Ribbon Support Center. Matt's brother, Micah, continued his military service, re-enlisting for 4 more years in 2008 before separation in 2012. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming the family that experienced the Iraq War like no other. To the stage, Mr. Keith Maupin, father of Matt, and Mr. Micah Maupin, Matt's brother. Did they take the bushes too from your office, Mayor? Oh, they gave you water.
What the hell?
Where's the coffee at? All right. So these are your mics. So what we decided to do this year is more of a deeper dive into things. You know, we have speakers. They provide an amazing perspective. But when do we get to hear it from the family? When do we get to understand the other side of things? And I think that's something we want to try to do today, if you gentlemen are okay with that. Good to go. I like these guys. All right. Mic's on. Good to go. Mic check. You all right? Check, check, check. All right. So I think the biggest question when we came to this was, how did you get to a place to where both of you were comfortable to actually come out and be public and talk about your experience?
I think for me, I learned I can't change yesterday. And I you know, being where Matt was at and how long it's been, I just knew the boy wasn't coming home, wasn't going to be carried off the plane. But I knew I couldn't change yesterday, so we were going to make a difference for tomorrow. So we started sending little baseball-sized pictures of Matt in every box that we've sent. And we've sent probably close to 37,000 boxes. So, yeah, and they went all around the world. And that was mostly designed to let them know that, you know, we still have a soldier missing, and, you know, it ain't your primary mission, but, you know, keep an eye out for him. Maybe they'd find him alive.
You know, Micah, you lost a brother. It's not something you don't want to go around the United States talking about. Why?
Well, I feel like it's important for people to remember what happened, right? You asked if it was, how are we able to talk about it? Well, sometimes, some days are harder than others. So if, you know, if one day, some days it just comes back pretty hard. Other days it's business as usual. But I feel like it's important, whether we feel like it or not, that we should talk about it, because it's something that was a big event in the United States, and people should know the importance of what could ultimately happen to someone who goes overseas.
You guys both mentioned a few times you felt you needed to talk about it. People needed to hear it. What's the goal in telling that story, though? For when someone hears it, what's the goal there? What do you want out of that?
Well, you know, just like he said, you know, there's like 80,000 missing. I know we're not going to be able to find them all, but at the same time, you know, you have to remember, just like with Matt, you know, it took me 6 months to really figure it out that if we don't do something, they're going to leave Matt with nothing, you know what I mean? So, you know, there's one. And so my goal was to get one home, and the rest of them, you know, it came after the fact that, you know, what are we going to do for these boys that didn't come home? So, you know, it just kept on going. And I tend to adjust to what's happening around me.
When you guys first found out about the news, how did you guys individually become aware of what was happening to Matt?
Well, I know we've seen it on the news, you know, the news, and a convoy got attacked over there. When I saw that convoy, I just knew that was Matt. But I never knew the consequences behind it. That's what's going to happen. But I knew that was Matt. And what really happened, there was a major, Matt's mom was in this group, you know, in our armed forces group, and with other Ghost Star families. And they called that group, and I was fishing, and they called Larry's house. And I told Larry, even before I even knew that, I said, we got to go. He said, where are you going? I said, oh, no, we need to get back to your house. It weren't 15 minutes, and that phone call rang, and this major wanted to come out to my house. You know, you just know that it ain't going to be good. So
During that time when Matt was captured, did you have any communication with him?
No.
Leading up to his capture, before that, what was communication like?
You know, the last communication I had with Matt was they had these internet things, you know, and it was a Saturday, and I stayed home. I told the guys that I'm going to stay home. And he just popped up on AOL, and he was on the internet, and he's talking about this little, I don't know what he called her, but a little, kind of run me off this computer. Hell, he was 6'2". He ain't go back and run him off there, you know what I mean? So it just went, and it was gone. Yeah. So, matter of fact, and then what we had done, we'd done a fundraiser. We wanted to send computers over there, right? So we raised like $60,000 and sent 90 computers to Iraq. And this major, he was kind of hee-hawing around. I said, well, there's a Marine unit right down the street here that will take these. There was 3 guys there the next day to inventory that. And in 2 days, they were over in Iraq. They had to build 2 new buildings and refurbish the wiring in 2 other ones so they could get them up and running. Yeah.
Wow. We all know if you give... So they're requesting that when you're speaking, if you just pull it up a little closer so everyone can...
What?
There we go. We all know if you give the Marines the computer, they'll take it. Where are my Marines?
Marines.
Yeah, we got a few right here. If you want something maintained, don't give it to the Marine Corps. Your computer will come back with bullet holes in it, kind of thing. And they're like, what happened to it? We all know the military could be rather, I'll use the term interesting, when it comes to communication. How was that as a civilian at the time? Your son's been captured. what was that type of communication between you as the father, you as the brother, family, speaking to the U.S. government, trying to get information?
Well, like I say, it took about 6 months, and I told Matt's mom, is that me or you? Hello. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? I forgot where I was at now. Oh, anyway, you know, we had a house full for about 6 months, and all of a sudden they started going away and they weren't coming back. And I told Matt's mom, I said, you know, we need to do something, or they're going to leave Matt in Iraq. She said, how you know? I said, hell, they're going away and they ain't coming back. And I think it was our congressman, Rob Portman, set up a meeting with others too down in, they were doing something down in Cincinnati. So we met George Bush, and from then on, it was pretty good communication, because I'd tell him, you know, you ain't leaving Matt in Iraq. No, ain't happening.
We're going to share today. Yeah. Once he holds that, it's going to stop working too. So.
Yeah, right.
We did a Zoom call the other day, and immediately we're on the Zoom call. I'm like, I like these guys. This is going to be a good conversation.
Just so you know, he's a Marine too. Yeah.
Ah.
And I don't know where it come from. They like orange crayons. I don't know where.
Yeah, so the city of Orlando removed all crayons from the city hall before any of you guys showed up today. So if you don't get it, ask a Marine next to you, and they will explain it. Switching a little serious here. I've lost people in my life. I served in the military. I was overseas as well. I cannot imagine. We use the expression in the military, we have decided to write a check with everything up to including the value of our life paid out to the United States. What was that like for you as a family to watch your son cash that check?
Well, I tell you, for me, you know, I was a sergeant in the Marine Corps way back when. And my thought was, you know, I had 2 sons. I never talked to them about going to the military. I said, hell, send yours. I'm going to keep mine home. Well, hell, they both went. What the hell? So, you know, I don't know how that happened, but they did. But you know what? It is what it is. I mean, you know, for me, you try to raise them, you know, life's about choices. And the choices you make is going to affect you today, tomorrow, somewhere down the road. You can't change that. So that's what I tried to do. I don't know why he went in the Marine Corps, but, you know. Yeah. But I don't know. You know, it's just, you just can't put words in it. That's all I know.
Tell me a little bit about your son and his decision to join the military. It sounds like Matt's a special guy, and anybody willing to do or serve, there is an element of us that just want to continue doing something for other people. And for Matt to be out there and understand what's happening. Tell me a little bit about him before he joined.
Well, he come home one time and he said he was going to join the Army, and I think we did convince him to wait a year. So when he come home, he said he was going to join the Army. I mean, you know, they're going to give him the best deal, because he wanted to. I mean, he ain't like he was a stupid guy. He was wanting to be an aerospace engineer. Open the book, you know. So I told him, I said, Matt, you know, going to the Army is a good thing to do. I said, but you need to understand, dude. I said, you know, you get over there. If you're not willing to kill that man, he's going to kill you dead, Matt. He said, Dad, I got to do what I got to do. And I said, I understand that, bub, but you need to know this is real. You may not come home. He said, I know. I said, let's go. So that's how I deal with that, because he knew where he was going and what the consequences could be. And, you know.
It's amazing to hear that, because I think any veteran in this room has agreed to that standard. And I think that's what really separates a lot of us from everybody else. It's so much bigger than us.
Yeah, yeah.
There is an invisible mission that keeps us all together. And to be able to understand that, to make the decision, takes a lot.
Yep, it does.
Micah, this is for you. He's got a new mic. We got a new one up here for him. Anybody that's not familiar with the military, if you lose a direct family member while in combat and you're deployed with that family member, the military will give you the option to send you home. You did not do that. You decided to re-enlist and keep going. Talk to me a little bit about that, man.
Well, when Matt got captured, they called me. I was actually in training. Matt and I pretty much joined at the same time. So I was down in Pensacola, Florida for avionics training. I was in avionics in the Marines, so I was one of the smart ones. But that Sunday that Friday when Matt got attacked, or the convoy got attacked, I heard on Sunday. And then one of my friends was going to the Pensacola Christian College at the time, and his family was down there. And the military said, hey, you need to come up to Ohio. And so they were gracious enough to drive me, however long it'd take, 14 hours or something, back up to Cincinnati. And so from that point, I realized that I had the option of either staying in the Marine Corps or getting out. The first 5 years of my enlistment, I decided to stay in the States. I had the option of waiving that right, but I feel like my mom and my dad already had enough to worry about, so I figured I'd stay back for a little while. But around 2000, right in March of 2008 is when Matt came back. And then that April, I re-enlisted. So I felt like that was a nice way of, we had that conclusion, everything kind of settled up, and then I realized, okay, now I'm free to step out and keep going. So I felt like that was important to me. I didn't think I was finished yet, right? I felt like I was being gracious to hold back, and then now. After I enlisted the second time, I thought, okay, now I can go.
How'd your service change after that? Obviously, you and your brother were going to do this together. We're gonna go through this mess together, because let's be real, it's a mess. Being in the military is crazy. Mm-hmm. How'd that shift for you? You made the decision to go on, but now you're doing it without your brother.
Well, that's actually kind of easy. The reason I did it, I was able to go on because I knew that Matt, I wanted to honor Matt, and I wanted to do the best that I could. And so anytime that I was doing something in the military, I did it to honor him. And I wanted to make sure that whatever I did reflected the high quality and standards that he set in the first place. And he's my older brother, so he's the one I looked up to. So I wanted to make sure that I could live up to that.
What kind of legacy do you hope Matt's leaving behind right now?
Well, it's a pretty big one, I think, especially in Cincinnati. I know a lot of people knew it across the country when he got captured, but I feel like his legacy will remain strong. I feel like he served his country well, and that it's our job to make sure that he stays remembered and that people know what he did.
And you guys are doing that currently with an amazing foundation that you guys have put together, that you guys have all the information at your seats. Tell me a little bit about the Yellow Ribbon Support Center and its mission and what's happening with that.
Well, the Yellow Ribbon Support Center, our mission is to support the men and women currently deployed and serving in harm's way, and remember those who didn't walk off the plane. And we do that by sending care packages, and each one of these care packages, that sticker is on all four sides and the top of every one of those boxes. And the reason I continue to do it that way is because, I knew in Iraq there were thousands of missions, and thousands of men and women went on missions looking for that boy. And I know that there were 2 that got killed looking for Matt. And my thought was, if they see that sticker, they're going to say, I went on missions looking for that boy. But it's been 20 years, so they're probably not there no more. So I'm still going to continue to do what it is to let them know what the consequences of what you're doing can be. And so it just continues. And we do it's called Let Us Never Forget.
They didn't get the memo. Sorry.
So I can talk louder than you. No,
There he is. Finally. There we go.
And we do that Let Us Never Forget, and what we do is we raise funds and we give a scholarship in the name of those that didn't walk off the plane. And we started that because, June Bailey, the one that we was talking to, and I said, we need to do something for those, because if we don't, they're going to be forgotten. And today we honor 106 just in Claremont County and the surrounding area. We had 24 Ghost Star families show up for that event almost every year.
Wow.
Yeah.
What's next for this foundation?
Well, I don't know. My thought was always that, as long as the community supports it, that means it's still going. But when the community stops supporting it, it's going to stop, and I'm going fishing. That's my goal. Yeah.
I love it.
And I'm telling you, I've had a couple of older ladies, like 85. They'd drive up and hand me this little bag of stuff to send to the troops. And I said, ma'am, I appreciate that. I said, but I got to tell you that, you keep doing this, I'll never get to go fishing. And she said, call me Mr. Maupin. We don't want you to go fishing. What the hell?
They want you to keep on with the mission.
Yeah, so that's what we, as a matter of fact, I think last week over in Harrison, Ohio, they collected some DVDs and L3. I don't know. They make fuses for the bombs for the military. They brought in over 8,000 DVDs. So if you know of somebody that's deployed, if I don't get their address, I guarantee you they won't get none of these DVDs. Yeah.
All
so
right.
that's what we do. I mean, it's going to continue as long as the community supports it.
Absolutely love it. For those that don't know, the yellow ribbon, where are my military members at in the audience? We all know that Jody. Around her hair, she wore a yellow ribbon. She wore it for her who was far, far away. And that's where it comes from. It's there for remembrance. Obviously, you'd remember it for your Marine Corps, your airmen, your sailors, your soldiers. And the fact that you guys are you're dedicating your lives to remembering your son, your brother.
I might add that there's some that's been here almost 20 years helping us do what we do. And it's 100% been volunteer since day one. We've never paid nobody to do nothing. Crazy. Well, except we do the dinner, and then you got to pay people.
Right. Got to have some help.
Yeah, got to have some help. But it works, and I don't know, and I truly believe I feel blessed every day to be able to do what we do. Sometimes it's a challenge, but I'm here.
Amen.
Yeah.
You guys are good men, and we are so proud. Yeah. And you're a funny man, too. So, listen, we want to thank the Maupin family for sharing their story with us today. And as a continued show of honor for their sacrifice of Matt, we have a presentation from Mayor Dyer's Veterans Council to help the Maupin family continue further Matt's legacy through creation of the Yellow Ribbon Support Center. We would like to present a check to you guys from the foundation for $5,000.
See, they don't want me to go fishing either.
And that is from the Mayor's Advisory Council going straight to you guys. So he said, don't go anywhere yet, sir. So, well, it is Friday, and we are at his office. So, sir, it is a work day. So hopefully you're not going anywhere. But can we give this amazing family a round of applause? Thank you.
Now for the final part of today's event, we would like to acknowledge our ceremonial table that is sitting right here in the front. Ladies and gentlemen, we call your attention to this small table, which occupies a place of dignity and honor near the head table. It is set for one, symbolizing the fact that members of our armed forces are missing from our ranks. They are referred to as POWs and MIAs. Some call them friends, some call them families, but they're our comrades. They're unable to be with their loved ones and families tonight, so we join together to pay our humble tribute to them and bear witness to their continued absence. Now, as you look at this table is set for one. It's small, symbolizing how fragile one prisoner alone against his or her suppressors. The tablecloth is white, symbolic of purity of their intentions to respond to their country's call to arms. The single red rose signifies the blood they may have shed in sacrifice to ensure the freedom of our beloved United States of America. And this rose also reminds us of the family and friends of our missing comrades who keep the faith while waiting for them to return. The yellow ribbon on the base represents the yellow ribbons worn on the lapels of thousands who demand the unyielding determination, a proper accounting of our comrades who are not among us today. A slice of lemon on the plate reminds us of their bitter fate, and the salt sprinkled on the plate reminds us of the countless fallen tears of families as they wait. The glass is inverted. They cannot toast with us tonight. The chair is empty because they're not here. And the candle is reminiscent of the light of hope which lives in our hearts to illuminate their way home, away from their captors to the open arms of a grateful nation. So let us pray to the Supreme Commander that all our comrades will soon be back within our ranks. And let us remember and never forget your sacrifices. May God forever watch over them and protect them and their families. Events are hard. You do so many of these to speak in front of large amounts of people, but when it hits home, when it carries more weight than any of us could ever imagine, it's hard. I'd like to thank you guys for trusting me and being up here today to carry this event. I would absolutely love to thank the Maupin family for your words, for your experiences, and simply for your mission that you're on. I don't think a lot of us could probably have the strength to do what you guys are doing. But I know Matt is really appreciative of what you guys are doing. So keep it going, please. Huge thanks to the city of Orlando. You know, I'm in cities all over all the time. You guys do it right, especially for our veterans. So I appreciate that. As a veteran myself, I appreciate that. So thank you again for coming today and for supporting our veteran events in the city of Orlando, the city beautiful. The VFW Post 2093 band will perform God Bless America as we end this service here today. Thank you for coming out to support our military veterans, our POWs, and our MIAs. God bless. Have a great day.